Hi all, Miss Butt here with today's short story. Today's story is called The Punishment of Loki. Loki, the Norse god of fire, can be an entertaining character. He is full of mischief, but there are times when he is downright evil. In this story, we learn how the other Norse gods punished him for his crimes. He tells us the tale in his own words. Please allow me to introduce myself. You will have heard already of some of my crimes. I confess that I am proud of them. Despite what others say, it was I who cut off the golden hair of Sif, the goddess of corn, and I the one who stole Freya's that necklace. Idun, with her golden apples of immortality, was kidnapped by none other than me. Didn't I sting Brock and do everything I could do to spoil Thor's thunderclapping hammer? Yes, if you do not recognize my face as dark as the burnt out tree and my eyes which dance like flames, you will know me by my deeds. I am Loki, god of fire, mischief, and all those things that are naughty but fun. Some, I am afraid, say that I am bad. Look, my life was never easy. I always had a bit of an identity crisis, and I still don't know whether I am the son of Odin or his brother. Am I a god or am I a giant? If I am half and half of these two groups bound to war throughout the ages, and where does that leave me? Being the god of fire didn't help either. Everyone knows that sometimes fire warms you up, and other times it burns down your houses and fields, and forests and everything else. Okay, I did bad, destructive things, but if Odin was so wonderful, where was his mercy and forgiveness? Or was it because he was so totally lacking in those qualities that our glory faded with time and men turned elsewhere? I mean, who worships the Norse gods these days? Very few. Oh dear. There you go. This story is about one of my disasters. Look, I am the god of fire, aren't I? So is it my fault I'm hot-tempered? It all happened at Agar's feast. He was god of the sea, and being god of fire, I'm always jumpy in the water. No one else was happy either. So you can imagine that sort of feast it was. Though the tone lightened as the servants passed the great horns of mead around the table, and the gods drank more and more, but somehow they missed me out. Wonderful servants, Agar, said one of the gods. They see to everything and everyone. Nothing is left undone. Hang on a minute, they missed me out, didn't they? I was so angry, I tell you. I leapt up and clobbered one of these blasted servants. He fell backwards onto the stone flags and lay stiff. There was a terrible silence. I remember, turns out the stones had killed him. Everyone turned and looked at me. Out, out, they cried. Outcast, cast him out. I got up and left the hall, but not for long. It was too wet for me in the rain, see? Another servant was outside the hall, and I asked him what they were talking about. They're all having a lovely time, said the servant, looking at me, but they've nothing good to say about you. Incensed, I strode back into the hall and faced the silence. I am cold and wet, and I have thirst also. Who will give me to drink? Who will pass the horn to me? No one spoke. I have come to take my place. Why are you so quiet? Oh, you cast me out, is it? Do you turn me away? There was silence, and then at last a voice boomed. You will never more have a place among the gods. You must leave. That was Odin, the god who was probably my own father. Well, if that's how it was, I did have something to say. A curse upon you, not a weedy human curse, but a curse from one of your own, a curse from a god to the gods. You find fault with me, but I, Loki, will never forget the faults that are yours. You, Odin, are a bit short on mercy and forgiveness, aren't you? Yours is a hard wisdom, isn't it? And you, Idun, did you not leave Asgard for your own will? Well, even if I did sweet talk you all the way out of the gates? You've always been stupid. All you can do is hold a basket. And so I carried on till I got to Thor, god of thunder and war. Are you not puffed up with pride? But where would you be without your hammer? And would you have your hammer if I had not cut off the hair of that silky wife of yours? There was silence, and then at last a voice boomed. You'll never more have a place. Oh dear, I think I've read that bit. That's right. Sorry, I agree. It might have been better to leave Thor out of this. But as I said, I'm a bit hot-tempered, impulsive. Shall we call it There was a grumble and a rumble, or a few thunderbolts, which Thor liked to throw for fun, and then a flash of lightning. Thor stood in front of me, towering with rage and swinging his hammer about. It really was time to go. Curse the lot of you, I cried. May you and yours be consumed in the endless fire of both now and at the end of days. I would admit that I did take things a bit far with these insults and curses. Anyway, I left and I wandered lonely over the earth, looking for somewhere safe to hide. The gods were sure to search me out and exact vengeance. I settled in a deep valley with a river hidden in the mountains, and I built a house with windows in every wall so I could always see if anyone was coming. Not that I relied on the windows alone. Don't forget, I often changed my shape because I was afraid of water. I turned myself into salmon to get used to it. What terrific swims and jumps I had in that mountain river. And I always liked fish. Slippery as a fish, isn't that what they say? I didn't take the three of them long to finish the net. Then they walked softly to the river and dragged it slowly from the bank to bank. I sank to the bottom and lay between two rocks so the net passed over me. Then the gods tied to a heavy stone to the net so that it could not miss me, and I jumped over it and rushed headlong down to a waterfall. The gods moved downstream and tried once more. I jumped again. Thor was watching and seized me as I jumped. I was slipping out of the grasp, but he gripped my tail tight. Oh, I wriggled, but he held me fast. I could do nothing and was changed back into my true shape. They dragged me to a cave nearby. They bored holes in three great rocks and bound me to the stones with iron fetters. My punishment was to stay there for all time. But even that was not enough. They hung a serpent over me to drop poison on my face. I cannot tell you how painful that was. No words can describe it. Thank goodness I had a good wife, Sijin, sorry. Though I was hot I was not a good husband. She heard my screams echoing in the wind and came to help me. She caught the poison in a cup, and when it was full, she turned to empty it, and the drops of poison fell on me. I could not escape them. Try though I did. I strained the iron on my flesh, and I pulled so hard that the earth trembled and quaked. So that was I. Loki received my punishment until the end of the world. Then I will become pure fire, consume my chains, and fight against the gods. With my fire of destruction, ha! The last laugh will be mine. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.